We know the federal government got itself into a world of pain with the censoring of the internet that they were trying to do last year about misinformation, where they would decide the truth. Oh, no, they wouldn't. Just a body they appoint would decide the information, or the independent fact-checkers that have now, of course, all been removed from many of the companies like Meta, Facebook and all the rest of it. But there is a new piece of legislation which presumably is going to get talked up in the next couple of days and forced on a vote in the next couple of weeks, which is all about going after a whole bunch of other nasties on the internet. Now, Joe, again, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, for the benefit of free speech, the following horrible garbage is allowed on the internet. No one's going to sit there, and that's not the game I'm playing. But I am going to see with the legislation, and let's see, letter for letter, paragraph for paragraph, how much of the stuff they dumped is going to be in this one, and the reason that everyone will have to vote for it, because the new legislation is about pedophiles.
Yeah, I think the way that it's going to work, and it's just a matter of, I suppose, where the line is and how it's actually. I think even when you see the legislation, a lot will come down to how it's enforced. So you can imagine, obviously, I have a few concerns as well. I should declare, and she hates me doing it, but I have to. My wife is a campaign director for Equality Australia, so she's one of the people pushing. That organisation is one of those pushing for it to go harder. So it sits at the moment at a kind of incitement to violence test, and what they want is that to extend to racial or gender or vilification or whatever based on any of those characteristics. Now, the problem with that is that one person's vilification is another person's joke or valid criticism of, say, a particular ideology or religion or whatever it may be. And so it'll have to be designed very, very carefully. But I think you do appreciate when you see the anti-Semitic attacks and, F the Jews and et cetera, clearly there has to be some kind of circuit breaker. I think the bigger problem is that sentiment is there. I don't think laws make people change their mind.
Last time I checked, it's already illegal to firebomb a childcare centre.
That's right.
It's already illegal to have something full of explosives. Bronwyn, this is my issue, right? And again, maybe it's how many angels on a pinhead, but I think there's sort of some key principles in all of this, right? Which is that we have a government that has already spent a couple of years trying to censor the internet, who won't censor, by the way, the Chinese surveillance apps that are either social media or AI, but they ban them off their own computers. And again, I think what this is really about is the next 2 weeks trying to force Peter Dutton into a scenario where you had a chance to vote against anti-Semitism and you didn't. You had a chance to shut down child pornography and you didn't. That's the wedge they're trying to play. So that's why they're going to. I'll tell you when they will release the text of this. About 10 minutes before it's voted on.
Well, I saw they can't quite do that. It's got to be brought into the Parliament, and there's got to be a second reading speech. But look at it this way: we've got two problems. We've got a judiciary that is weak.
Correct.
And we've got the problem of anti-Semitism, which is real and has been allowed to fester because of a weak Prime Minister. So they are the two problems that should be addressed. So you do it by having a mandatory sentence, which is what Dutton suggested, and now Burke raced in tonight and said, we're going to have mandatory sentencing.
Even though the Labor Party, by the way, voted against multiple times mandatory sentencing for illegal gun importation. Oh, because we don't believe in mandatory sentencing because they think somehow, a bunch of 12-year-olds in the territory are going to get locked up.
They know they're so far behind.
Let's watch the details, kids.
They know they're so far behind on the anti-Semitism issue because of their weakness and their pandering to win seats in Western Sydney. And people know that. And now they're trying to make up ground, which is why Burke's raced in there, and it had to be Burke, didn't it?